Hold on, wait. Let me think about this. Overthinking. We're going to be talking about overthinking. Welcome to the show today, guys. It is fourth quarter. I know everybody's busy. We're busy. I'm burnt out. We're going to keep it short tonight. Craig, what do you say?
Hey, the theme of the show tonight is on me.
There you go.
Say it. Say it to him.
Hold on. Let me overthink this.
Yeah. So I thought that'd be a good theme tonight. I've had some recent conversations made me think of this. You know, we all have so many stories. So I could tell you, I think the number one reason why brokers, advisors, and consultants are limited on the growth in their income, their impact, their influence is because they overthink things. They can't get out of their own way. Now, it probably all started, it's not your fault. Everyone feels frustrated and challenged and, you know, feeling like there has to be more, that they could be more, they have greater potential. But to use a baseball analogy, since we just had the World Series and the Dodgers won, Los Angeles Dodgers, a lot of brokers out there spend all their time in the wind up and they never actually make the pitch. And so the consequence of that is that while you're spending your time analyzing, overthinking things, other people are taking action. Other people are not letting the details get in the way of taking action. And therefore, the velocity at which their business grows, their income grows, the choices they get to make increases, and the life they get to lead improves. That's, you know, I really think I've talked to, in the last 4 years, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of conversations with all sorts of different brokers all over the country, all different size firms. And it's consistent that the people who are stuck, it's usually because they can't get out of their own way. So when I saw this shirt online, I went, oh, I've got to buy that because that's a great theme for a show. Wait, no, let me overthink this. What do you think, John?
Yeah, it's funny. I think everybody sometimes gets that problem. Sometimes you're just a doer. I would consider myself more of a doer, although I've tended to think about something. Maybe usually I'm usually what do you say? I'm a human yo-yo. I usually have more.
Sometimes, yeah, you
I
got
have
that
more
yo-yo
of that
tendency.
problem.
And I'm not
I'm
talking about the girls you date.
I was having a conversation with my brain coach Hannah, and I was telling her some stuff about uh, her doing things in her business, and I think she's a thinker. She said, "I got to think about this." I go, "Don't think, just do. Listen, here's your shortcut. Here's what you need to do. Just do it. It's already been done. It's already been proven." And it
Exactly.
wasn't until she heard John Asseroff talk and said he sold $75 million of a course, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to do it." So yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's overthinking here.
I was talking to a national firm, which shall remain unnamed, just recently, right? It's a firm I don't have a contract with, and talking to a BSD, for those of us who know what that means, and he was all that, and I was just flabbergasted. He didn't focus on, wow, how can I prospect with this Trojan horse solution? That's incredible. I love the sound of that. Sneak in the back door, get paid to audition, and eventually the customer's going to say, what else do you do? And then if I want to flip it to retail, I take the retail. But in the meantime, I create as little friction as possible and I just slide in the back door with a solution that's guaranteed to save money. No, he didn't focus on that.
You talking about
It's
my
real.
Friday night?
It's really fascinating. Exactly. Yeah, you had a lot more fun. And so the guy's like, I really need to understand how it works behind the scenes administratively. And I'm like, wow, you're probably never going to sell anything. It's like 18 years, hundreds of clients, you know, you missed that whole point. And so, it just made me think of the theme for tonight. Hold on. Let me overthink this. Because, I did a lot of training with Jack Canfield a few years ago. Part of when I was going to go, look, all right, I got to reinvent myself. Done with retail, going to go wholesale. But I've got a really unique solution that I know of that nobody's ever heard of. So I went, okay. So I had to get a lot of different ideas. Best idea came from Jack Canfield and his simple formula. And the theme of his training, I did a long training program with him, and it was basically, you get to choose. You get to take 100% responsibility for your life, or you don't. And so he came up with a formula to recognize the universal, ubiquitous challenge that all human beings face, is that today is very likely we're a product of our past. And so we've become conditioned. And so he has this great little formula called E plus R equals O. And if you've never heard of it, you really need to pay attention. Go buy some Jack Canfield books. E equals events. So there are events in your life. And in our world, the brokerage world, right, we have all sorts of different events. I mean, my goodness, now we have the election. It's like, are we going to have a Joe Biden health plan? The ACA's at the Supreme Court. Is it going to get repealed? Is it going to be edited? Is it going to be modified? It's endless. The carriers are coming out with new products. The carriers are trying to go direct. They've got the captives coming out of our ears. And this year was pretty much a status quo year. But next year is going to be the greatest prospecting year in 34 years I've been in healthcare. Everybody and their nephew and niece are going to be out trying to get your business. And so there's all sorts of events. Events happen in your life. John and I have talked numerous times over the last couple of years about his upbringing, right? Loud, nice, emotional Italian family. Come on, what's the matter, you? And I grew up in that same house, just minus the Italian. And so loud, obnoxious, emotional. And so, I'm a product of my environment. The difference was I chose to figure out how to overcome the anger that was just always welled up just below the surface. And I had to learn to choose to create some emotional intelligence so that I could come up with other strategies and tactics to deal with what frustrated me. And so all of these events in your life, messaging that you got when you're a kid, hey son, money doesn't grow on trees. If you grew up in one of those families, imagine the anchors that have been psychologically tied around your brain about money, and how either the guilt or the frustration or whatever it is on the story you tell yourself up here about money and how limiting it is for you. Here's what I've discovered about money. It's really fascinating. And I suspect that many of you can identify with this because I'm on the other side now. And what I realized looking back was I thought too small. And I bet all of you think too small. So whatever your goals are, they're way too small. They're not challenging. They're not nearly challenging enough. So you don't know how much capacity and how much potential you have, because the money it's really just a symptom. It's a byproduct. It's not the goal. It's a byproduct of doing the right things so that success is inevitable. And so once I came to understand the game, I knew that if I just kept doing the right things over and over again and kept getting better and kept improving and kept learning and kept studying and kept saying, I'm responsible for my future. There's no event out there. There's no person who can make me feel bad. I don't give that power to anybody. Events do not control me. So when you have events plus response equals outcomes, I learned through Jack's training that the R is your response. It's the power that we all have. It's the only thing we control. It's what gives us the ability to decide what we're going to do now and tomorrow and the next day. And if you understand the game, then you know that by doing the right things consistently, success is inevitable and more money is just a byproduct. So when you get stuck on, if I could only make X, that's the wrong goal. That's not a goal. Okay. So focus on, how am I going to control my response to events that frustrate me now so that I'm no longer frustrated? It's like water off a duck's back. Doesn't matter, Biden, Trump, whatever, Congress, Senate, they're going to do what they're going to do. The Supreme Court's going to do what it's going to do, and then you're going to decide how to respond. And in the response, you have to figure out, how am I going to take action? Because if you revert to your natural system of overthinking things, you'll be stuck in the windup and you'll never make the pitch. And so the whole idea between E plus R equals O is focus on the response. It's the only thing in life you can control. And then obviously the O is outcome. So events plus your response equals the outcomes to your life. If you don't like your outcomes, what do most people do? What do most advisors do, brokers and consultants? They complain about the outcome. They complain about the event, but they never look in the mirror and say, what if it was my fault? What if I was responsible? What if the issue was my issue? What if I could be 100% responsible? How would that change what I say next time, what I do next time, what I prepare next time, how I present, what I say, how well I listen, the tone of my voice? These are all things that will allow you to generate an outcome that you can't even conceive today. If you're stuck on defending and justifying, well, they wouldn't have bought anyways. That HR person, they love their broker. I mean, I saw them hug. Whatever the stories that you use as excuses to defend and justify your lack of performance, you got to get rid of those. You're not being 100% responsible for your life, but you spend a lot of time thinking, right? But it doesn't manifest in outcomes that you want because you're looking through the lens, the wrong lens. Focus on the R in life, your response to everything, and that will naturally influence your outcomes, and that can literally change your life. So
Todd
I get a lot of stories like that.
Todd says you can't control what happens to you, but you can control your response to it. Amen.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say hello to some of you in the crowd. Todd, Pierre Tillman, Ray Cober. Look who's back on. Margot, Mr. Seeger. Mr. Seeger, you're so successful. Why do you watch the show anymore, right?
Hey, let me give you some love to Pierre.
Pierre,
thanks for the email. Been a little busy. I hadn't responded yet, but appreciate it. So Pierre's your typical NAHU member, male, 50-ish. Been doing the business a long time. And he sent a really nice email saying, hey, the stories that you guys have exposed me to allow me to sell in a different form and fashion, which, oh, by the way, has resulted in a shit ton of new business for our firm. And I just wanted to take a minute to say thanks, because very likely I'd have never discovered the insights and the strategies and the tactics that you guys have shared on Heads Up Advisor. So Pierre, much love to you, brother.
Thank you, Pierre. You guys want to give us a shout out for anything? We always love to hear and appreciate it, because we try to get on here every week and give you some stuff. Justin Leader says, Heine on point. Audio sounds great. Good, because I was having trouble with really expensive mics. I'm
I
very
finally learned how
happy.
to use the mic.
I'm very happy to hear that. Uh, Wendy Bowser says, Jen Cenero has a great book about making money. You're bad about making money. Um, One shout out to Josh Hyman. We're going to send him out a Hunter's Award here. Um, Josh gave me a call and said, I just want to thank you guys for some of the stuff and some of the ideas. And, he's not stuck in that overthinking, right, Craig? I mean, I think I did a call with him months back and he just went out and did it, got a $12,000 consulting agreement on
Yeah.
something he would have done for free. And he just told me, he said he went into some place and I think he's getting paid, north of 1,000 a month just on something to provide a solution, and
Yep.
two or
I
three other
just tried it.
consulting. Yeah,
Right.
two or three other
I remember his
consulting
first
agreements.
case. He called you up. He was all excited. He's like, "Holy crap! They paid the fee. It works." Yeah. Why? Because he didn't overthink it. He just went, "I'm going to test it and see." Right? Now, some of you, this is pretty laughable. So some of you who've never done any of the things that we've talked about, you'll go out there and a whole one time or two or three times because you don't have enough prospects. And you'll try it and it might not work because maybe you're just not that good at making the pitch since it's been 6 months since you heard about it and you sound like you're, waffling and questioning what you're saying, and it doesn't really exude confidence or give the buyer certainty. So they say no, and then you're done. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like, you have to have a large sample size, guys and gals, which means you need a lot more prospects. Again, part of the issue of stop overanalyzing and just do stuff.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Some of the other thing, well, I'll go back to the point you were making earlier of thinking bigger too, and we're gonna go all over today. But
Yeah.
I, when I had met you at the conference, I remember going there thinking that I was kind of, hot shit, and that I was doing six figures in revenue, and but I only knew what I knew. I only knew what the prior agency that I worked for did in revenue. So all I could do was compare myself to that. And I'd blown by his revenue for quite quickly and thought that was, superstar status because I thought he was good. And then I got to the conference and I realized, somebody next to me had done, 3, 4, 5 times that, multiple people the prior year. And I go, wow. I thought I had already reached the pinnacle of selling and closing business, and here I am, the little guy in the room, because I was in the bigger room, but I enjoyed it. I said, "Oh, good! I got people to learn from. I got people to look up to." One guy was like, "Yeah, I want to move up market," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, I want to do that too. I want to go to 100 plus." And he's, I'm tired of doing 100 life groups. I want to go to 500. I want to go to 1,000. And the mind just gets blown when you put yourself in a room with other people that are thinking bigger. And as Craig says, encourage yourself to think bigger if you don't want to, and you're comfortable and you got a niche, and that's fine if you got it working it well. But I think all of us probably are victim to not going after or not doing as much as we can, because what do you say? It's that little thermostat in your brain that
Yeah.
goes, whoa, whoa.
The
I don't like
amygdala
this.
says, "I like the comfort zone I'm in. And when you do things that start to make me feel uncomfortable, I create all sorts of distractions for your brain to go, squirrel." Procrastination, delay. Let's go see what's in the fridge. Hey, I wonder if there's a game on. And so you're not even conscious of what's going on. And this goes on in every single human being. We're designed to create this homeostasis where we like it very even keel. And so when you think about, oh my God, I should sign up to go do that talk in front of all those people. And then you think about, well, what would I say? I mean, why? And then some of you get imposter syndrome and you're like, well, not really an expert. I mean, I've only been in the business 2 years. And you start to tell yourself stories, and then you talk yourself out of it. And this goes on with everybody. So you just have to recognize it's almost like a brain hack. Read books, watch videos, expose yourself to people who have insights onto how to reprogram the 6 inches between your ears, because it's a programmable computer. Once you figure out the formula, you just reinforce it with positive stories, positive images, positive thoughts that are focused on the activities, behaviors, deeds, thoughts, actions that result in an inevitable success. And oh, by the way, the byproduct of that is you were making $250,000. Now you're making $600K. Don't make the money the goal. Focus on this. Focus on how to control this so that it manifests in what you do and say and think. And you will figure it out, because this is all programmable. It's just that 95% of the world lives unconsciously. You get up and you don't think about breathing and brushing your teeth. You go to the bathroom and you have breakfast and you have coffee and you go to work. Same thing at work. And you just live in this rut. Most of your behavior is unconscious. You don't consciously think of doing this stuff. And so you have to interrupt your pattern, give yourself new information, reprogram the computer, and success is inevitable. That's why I kudos to Pierre, because he's got a lot of mud in his brain from 25 years in the business. So he and I have known each other for probably 4.5 years. Took him 2.5 before he tried anything. Just because that's just who he was, right? And he would tell me back in the day, well, I mean, I gotta look at it, I gotta study it, I gotta think about it. And that's okay, because those were all stories he told himself. And so once he could start to get out of his own way, he starts to see, as everybody does, oh my gosh, this is so much easier than I thought. I just had to do it. It starts the 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. And most people quit it before ever starting the first step. That's the sad thing about life. So I just understand you have unlimited potential. You have to think, gosh, so much bigger than you currently do, because your small wishes, sometimes you call them goals, right? But what's a great line? A wish is a goal without a deadline, right? And so, you're setting yourself up for failure.
If you guys want to know more about brain science, I'm probably going to have somebody that I hired to reframe my brain a little bit on the show, maybe next month. I think, I saw a post that said coronavirus is not the worst virus. Having a poor mindset is. And I think I was on with John Asseroff 2 days ago in Mark's private group. Yeah, I belong to other groups, guys, where I sit in the audience and I listen to the experts.
Hey, quick John Asseroff story. 2012, I'm at John Asseroff's house in San Diego, pitching, top of a mountain, acreage, right? And because he was a brain science guy, and it was like, I need to get better. The solution's looking at me in the mirror every day. I have to find people who have other knowledge, other tactics, other strategies that I can use to improve myself. Right? There's a thing called the law of first knowledge. The vast majority of human beings never learn anything new than the first thing they learned about any subject, and they just repeat it. It's not a mistake that in today's world, the media has figured this out, whether it's the broadcast media or the social media. There's a reason why they've polarized people, because they know that human beings, generally speaking, are not interested in improving themselves because they're unconscious. And so they only want to be reinforced with messaging that matches what they already believe. And so the left is on the left, the right is on the right. And there we have the polarization of our country. controlled and manipulated by all the various media, whose only sole purpose is not to broadcast news. That's not their job. No, they sell advertising, and that's how they make money. So they just continue the manipulation. So you have to decide that you're going to take 100% responsibility for your behavior. And it starts with what you think, because these thoughts ultimately become your beliefs. Your beliefs determine what your actions and your deeds are. And ultimately, that's going to determine your destiny. So if you don't start here, unless you win a lottery ticket, you're going to never realize your potential. You might make, good money, what you think is good money or great money. But what if you could 4x that, 10x that? You actually can. You just don't believe it yet. It's fun.
Back to so
John Asseroff.
Yeah, listen to John Asseroff. I mean, he says
fantastic.
He's really, really good. And I'm gonna have maybe have my brain coach on to talk to everybody on here and give some insight.
Not the guy that shocked you. No, not that guy. Right?
No.
Okay.
It's interesting to hear when you tell them, "Hey, I'm thinking this," and they just break down exactly what it is, what it means, and where it comes from. It's kind of like employers with healthcare, right? They go, "Well, my premiums are going up, and I got to cost shift my employees," but they don't know the root cause of the problem, right? They don't understand anything about breaking apart that healthcare plan. They don't know that I'm getting screwed in the pharmacy. I'm getting screwed on the medical. They don't know, and it's kind of like they can't fix it if they don't understand it, right? Or have the right advisor. It's the same thing with the brain science. Is you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't understand any of it. So it's interesting to hear it. It's really, really, really interesting if you start to look at it and you go, wow, if I could just control this damn thing inside my head, I'd be a lot happier. I'd be a lot more successful, and life would be a lot better. So I'd encourage you guys to look into that. I mean, everybody's brain probably went through a pretty good test this year. Most of you, if not all. I know mine went. With Corona, it was a challenging year. It's just something we never saw before, right?
Self-doubt creeps in.
Oh boy, in sales, it's a roller coaster ride. It's self-doubt creeps in when you don't close for X amount of time, and again, it was probably more extended period for us, and it just keeps creeping in. And I always say, sales is my drug, and I get high off the close, and the close wasn't coming as much this year, so you're in withdrawals, and that screws with your mind. So I think a lot of us probably have some built-up crap in our mind. It's a question I asked Asseroff on the show. It's like, do you think this had an effect on people's mind and how to get out of it? And he said, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to look forward, though, and get back to doing what you were doing best. Get back into your routine, and you'll slowly get back out of it because you were just shifted out of your routine.
What do most people do? They complain about the outcome, or they complain about the event. And so they're trying to justify and make an excuse that they rationalize why they're not doing anything about it. I mean, imagine Martin Luther King, right? Remember his famous talk, "I have a complaint"? No, that wasn't his talk. He said, "I have a dream." Do you think it's an accident, the words he chose? About the content of your character instead of the color of your skin? My God, in the 1960s, he could have complained about a lot of stuff, but he chose to frame it in such a form and fashion that I have a dream. And so it's just an example of how you can reframe whatever you think is happening to you in your life and what conditions you have, and stop making excuses about this, that, and the other thing, and figure out how you can be 100% responsible and have a different response.
Yeah, and everybody's coming to a close. You come to a close of the year, and you look back. I think, I'm already half, even though I'm bombed with work here, burnt the hell out, 14-hour days. I'm still
Come on, 12-hour. I've always said insurance is the easiest business in the world. You only work half days.
Yeah,
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You pick.
that's it. I work the later shift.
Yeah. Vampire.
But you're already starting to look and plan for next year, so think about it. I mean, we're going to do our New Year, New Me show, as always, January 1. It's coming back. And what are you going to work on? I think you need to start now. You just need to start thinking about that now, especially if you didn't have the year you wanted, you had some changes in your life, personal life, business life, and start thinking, what are we going to do next year? And did some of the problems come from, like Craig said, look in the mirror, overthinking things, and what are you going to do to fix that? So, Craig, what else before we wrap it here?
I was just looking to see if anybody had any comments, but
Yeah, type yes below if
hey.
you want to learn. If you want to hear from a brain coach, type yes below. We'll try to get her on and lock her up, or one of the brain coaches that we know. And if you're listening on the podcast, check us out every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on YouTube and Facebook. We got a larger crowd. We had 28 people on tonight. I was surprised. I thought many people might be booked up and worked and burnt out. But
well, most people watch this, listen to this at their leisure, right? Walking the dog on the weekends, what have you. Just the way it is, and that's okay, as long as you get the message. And for those of you that it resonates for, it's fairly universal. Over the last few years, we know that those who listen, believe, take action, do more business, and make more money. And that's the point of why we chat with you guys.
and as Mark would say, live a better life, because that's what money brings, right?
It gives you a hell of a lot more choices.
That it does, my friend. That it does.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I got a lot of yeses down here to have some brain science on. We'll try to get that in before the end of the year, and we'll mark it well in advance so you guys know. I almost forgot, show sponsor, Virtue Health. Check us out, virtuealliance.com. New website coming. Wait till you see it. We're working on it. Thanks for those of you who have been submitting some opportunities to us. We are busy as hell. A lot of things we're getting over the hump. A lot of you that are trying to convert business weren't happening earlier this year. It's happening right now. People are making changes. The pendulum has swung back. I like what I'm seeing. So don't make the excuse in your head that changes aren't happening or people ain't making changes, because I'm watching them and I'm seeing them happen on the wholesale side. So, guys, thanks for joining us.
Is coming.
It's coming, baby. Guys, thanks for joining us. Tune in next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Heads Up Advisor. Talk soon, guys. Peace.